Hello, viewers, and welcome to the Open Conf YouTube channel. We are here with Stavros Vassos, co-founder and CEO of helvia.ai, and we are going to have a small conversation about his upcoming speech in Open Conf 2024. Hello, Stavros, and welcome to our company.
Hi, Dimitris.
It's very nice to meet you, even virtually. We will have the opportunity to meet also at the conference, but let me get up with the questions because people would like to know what we are up to and what we are going to talk about in the Open Conf. First of all, let me ask you about AI research in particular. I want to know what inspired you to pursue a career in AI research and how has your journey evolved over the years?
Right. Well, I've always been fascinated about the concept of AI. Both in let's say the philosophical sense about how you can make machines think, as we sometimes think about it, but also in the practical sense of how we can have, in our everyday life, tools that are smart and help us in our tasks, in our personal life, in our business life and work life. And that led me to work in AI in research. I did my PhD some time ago in one of the winters, let's say, of AI, as sometimes it's called. It was early zeros when I started it, 2002. And at that time, I was working on what was then called cognitive robotics. Right, so it's like robotics, but with some kind of abilities that we would call cognitive, like planning and thinking ahead. And sometime later, while I was a professor in Rome at Sapienza University, I was observing how the chatting had become really a new form of communication that was gaining a lot of popularity with things like Messenger in the early days from Facebook and all the other platforms that emerged. And I started thinking how we can make digital cognitive robots inside these chat platforms, how we can make apps there. And with an old colleague, I co-founded a company and we started building chatbots. And from that era to now that we are maybe 2 or 3 years after techniques related generative AI started to show how they can shine, things have become much more interesting, much more exciting, and I'm very, very much excited to see how we can do even more things and see what lies ahead.
Well, that's awesome stuff, but I would also like to know the spicy stuff. So could you share a story where your research led to a significant change or improvement in a product? And could you highlight also the impact of your work in this said product?
Right. I would like to share a story about maybe the first live thing that we built with generative AI some time ago. It was maybe 1.5 years ago. It was the time that OpenAI had already shown us how things are changing. It was the time that GPT-4 was provided with early access to some organizations. We had access to it, and we were already seeing that things are changing. We can have now really competent assistants to answer questions from documents, from unstructured sources. And at the same time, it was the time that national Greek elections were taking place here in Greece. And I always had this problem with elections. You see and hear so many things, and they're so fuzzy. And I was always like, could there be a system that I can just see, or a place that I can see what's the official stand, what's the official position from each of the different parties. And we said, well, let's try to do it with generative AI. And we did, indeed, we did a project that we called in Greek, Tora Xero, like now I know. And we fed all these, only the official programs that we could find online, and then create it so that you could do like a digital debate. You could ask a question, select some parties, and see what answer comes there. And now why I'm saying this story is because at the time we were doing it, Gen AI was not, the emerging generative AI stack for building things was not really, let's say, much established. So we ended up actually creating this with an early version of retrieval augmented generation, or RAG, an early version of semantic chunking, so breaking down the documents in kind of let's say one-pagers, cohere pieces of text, and also an early version of caching, so that when we actually make it public, you remember in the beginning, GPT-4 was so expensive. We didn't want to just, this was like a test we were doing, really was not a paid project, so we didn't want to, get all these costs without limits. In any case, getting back to your question, the thing is that let's say the research path that I have been following and the experience of the team that we work together actually helped us isolate and identify and make this early prototype based on what was not established then. So that in that sense, our experience and my experience shaped this product, this prototype into being, while we couldn't have done it otherwise. And on the other side, this kind of activity also helped us in planning how we would move ahead. And in fact, all of these different things that were early prototypes, now they're solid services that are part of our platform for building agents and chatbots. And some of them we also offer in as a separate product. So I think this kind of, let's say, even mentality of being in the research direction, of exploring, of trying to be one step ahead, is what guided us there to first make a prototype that was really early. I think it must be the first live generative AI related product that was used by thousands of people at that time, and also leads us into creating every other aspect of the platform that we actually develop now.
So it was like, let's say, a test run, and the price tag interested me the most, because it was so expensive. So no one could, let's say, afford it at the beginning. It was something very particular, very elaborate.
I would say it was both exotic and expensive and interesting and exciting, and and we see how it has unfolded, really.
Yeah. Now, I would like to connect the next question and our speech in general, our talk, with your upcoming speech in Open Conf. In particular, I would like to know if why it is important to manage the use of AI assistants and copilots, and in general, what are the benefits, assuming that we will not generate a technological upcoming such as the one in Matrix. But okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think I would start with saying that it's a time now that not only for researchers like us that we're excited about AI, that somehow everyone should be looking into, exploring into how this new era of the services of computers, of machines, of AI can affect and help our everyday life. And this is going to change, and each one of us has to be part of it, because somebody has to somebody has to decide how this is going to be included in our new everyday life, in our work, in our personal life. And I think that it's challenging, not only from the conceptual way, like ethical way, how we can make it work, but it's also challenging because non-experts don't have the opportunity to, let's say, manipulate and configure and make one of these things that are out there, an assistant, perhaps an agent, a copilot, make them really work for their own case. There's this illusion that, yes, maybe you can write a couple of instructions, or you can go into a platform and do that. But if we actually look into what's coming, like the agents, that they have autonomy, these things, they are still, let's say, at a lower level of specification. Experts can kind of tame them and manipulate them and put them in a path, but this is really not within reach for let's say, expert users. And I think it's a challenge, and I think this is why it's important to have the opportunity and the tools to as a person, as a non-expert user, to say, okay, I have this technology and I need it now to work in my case, in my way, and I'm going to explore it, and I'm going to form an opinion about it, because we need to form an opinion about how this will become part of our society. Now, connecting this to my talk, unfortunately, my talk is on a lower level also. So it's not about the non-experts. I'd be happy if, and we are started working more on that direction, and I'd be happy if the whole community of AI would be focusing a little bit more on that. But our talk, my talk, has to do with how you make the use of these new tools, these large language models, these systems that are able to get inputs and do things for us, how you can make them work in a more effective and cost-effective way. Because as we said in the previous example, when GPT-4 was out, it was very expensive to use it in a casual use case like question answering. Similar, perhaps today, agents are quite expensive if you want to use it in casual use cases, and perhaps this is a thing that will keep going. The most, let's say, precise and the most capable types of AI will be at some point for some time expensive to use. And we have started working on this caching idea, which is of course very well known in computer science, and has to do with reusing previous interactions and instances to help you handle newer instances that come, whatever they are, whether they are question answering over some documents or figuring out an agent what to do, but handling them in a way that you don't have to do the same effort as you did when you first encountered the same or a similar instance. Now, that might be already too technical or not, and we definitely believe that this direction has more room. I'm going to show a little bit about some research that we did and some research that has been done in parallel, not by our group, but the whole community. And I do believe that within this, let's say, race to build bigger models and larger models and longer models and, I don't know, more modalities in the models and such, there's other aspects that they're less highlighted, but they're equally intriguing, equally interesting, and have lots of benefits to offer. So that's about, let's say, how the talk is related. The talk I'm going to do in Open Conf is related to this, let's say, discussion.
So in general, we can say that the key for the future is to reshape our mindset and reshape our view, our point of view in general on how to actually use these tools to our benefits and to our specific fields. Now, concluding our talk, I would like to know what drives your passion for continuous learning and sharing knowledge with the community, and how this whole procedure has shaped your professional life.
Great. Well, I guess maybe for many academics, the core of the desire to be in research is to understand things, and many times to explain them also. So through this path that I have, and through this maybe similar desire, I'm very excited to be exploring and figuring out how technology and novel things that we devise can help us solve problems, and at the same time to abstract it, to explain it, and make it accessible to not necessarily technical people, but non-experts as well. So I personally enjoy that, and this is something that the continuous learning and research is, the place to do it, the way to do it as a role and as a job. And at the same time, I think it becomes clear now in our direction as a company, in our products as well, that we not only work at the level of solving a problem, but exposing as much as possible to a higher level those concepts and those matters that somebody would have to touch and maybe fiddle with, so that they own it, they make it really fit into their let's say tailored problem. There's problems that are common for many people and very many businesses, but everyone really has their own peculiarities to address. So I guess that's one way that this path has affected the professional life and my everyday life, let's say. And in general, I would say it's this passion for revealing what's happening and making it work that drives me being in that process, in that path.
Yes, this actually sounds very exciting. So I would like, first of all, to concluding our talk, I would like to thank you for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
It was a pleasure. I'm looking forward to meet at the conference. And keeping that in mind, let me remind to everyone that Open Conf 2024 will be held this November 22, the 22nd and the 23rd of November in DAIS Event Center, Athens, Greece. So you can go to open-conf.gr, the website, and book your tickets now. There are tickets available even now, but they are becoming scarce. So go to the website and book your own ticket right now. Thank you, Stavros. See you at the conference, and have a nice day.
Thanks again. Thanks, Dimitri. Bye.
Bye.